Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for, December 19th, and a special day for my little daughter, who's now 6 years old, Grace. So she's very excited about the upcoming 19th here. And, I hate to be a Grinch, but boy, did we get the move that we were looking for. Let's just backtrack that. We got a lot of new members coming in all the time, so we may as well take a look at our weekly chart and what we were talking about expecting. First, we were looking for that orange dot up target of 1454 range, and very close to that. I believe this one was also 52, right about where we're at, and then a full big target all the way up there at 75. So that was what the broader weekly chart was giving us, and so we had some very positive expectations that we wanted to attack weakness, which we've been doing. So from that standpoint, it's all been fine. However, you don't want to be ignoring these because both positive extreme, and for those not familiar with it, this extreme histogram was never designed to be positive. And when I started creating it and found these anomalies of positives, I was able to realize what was happening in these carry-through moments. And we know that those moves are likely to retrace. In fact, this 174 target, let me set price over just a little so we can see it clearly on the window here when you highlight it. It says target down at the bottom, 1431.90 from where we're at. So that's a pretty decent drop off. Is it going to happen right away? Not necessarily. It can be a day or two. It could even extend for a little bit beyond that. But we have specific contingencies that we're going to play, and that's what we'll do with it. You can see the expanded ratio histogram went way off the charts here. Kind of just tells us that, while some people in their stochastics and some of these regular indicators, they're just going to get overbought, we have a clear idea that when there's a significant change in an overall setup. But with the shakeout continuing to climb, and actually we have higher highs, and the previous shakeout reading was plus 13 for that overall. Well, actually, 10.73 to be exact. I can't really lift that up all the way to show you, but we're currently at 11. So we do have a higher shakeout reading with higher price, and that's a good thing. And we're not seeing a large number of shorts into this new setup. And this is something we saw. We saw the shorts adding in right here where the red line was below, and that meant they were stronger overall than our buyers. And it was just a classic short setup. We've seen it before, and they think that price is going to start to break and then break down below these lows, and then all of a sudden it just reverts. And we could see this happening by our extreme histogram reaching this negative 45 number, which becomes very bullish for pop-ups. I mean, you can just sit here and go back, and those of you with the indicators, you're welcome to do that too. You'll find that areas where we dip right to this and pop up, very attractive buy setups. But the last time we had this short signal led to, this overall decline. So it just gives you an idea. It's not something to joke about or pretend doesn't exist. It does. So, and I started playing with the lines because remember, you had all these people showing their charts where, they did this and they had the lines, and before it was down here, they were ignoring these peaks. Then they lifted it up when it got to this one. Oh, that's for sure the top, never going to get past it. Then we had the bottom channels, and so then I thought, okay, how cute is this? Because now they can go back up to here, because remember, originally I was showing that you could actually make a case that why not just capture those two peaks. This one didn't quite get to it, and that actually is your upside target. But again, it's just speculation. But this looks pretty now because you kind of form this triangle thing that people will get frightened over. But again, blew past this resistance and all the way up to this next one up here. Now, I would say to you, there was nothing in these areas as far as too many stops or whatever to stop price. It's not an indication of anything. They're just lines. You need to actually have something that represents them. And again, here's another one that throws them off. Okay, I saw a ton of posts on StockTwits about this one. Morning opens up, gets right up to that upper side of the Bollinger Band. Oh, it's a must sell. You got to sell it because you reach the top of the Bollinger Band, you got to sell. And that's where I turned around and posted my ES chart, which said that no, not only are we not in the middle or done with it, in fact, I think that was pretty close to the last thing I put on StockTwits. We can actually go to my feed and take a look at it. Why not? Yeah, it was right here. So I posted this. So if you go to StockTwits, you'll see it, because I posted this finished picture, but it was this earlier one that really depicted it pretty well. I had my upside target back here from our daily orange dot, which I don't think we'd even talked about. And then the previous chart had showed earlier in the day where we were nowhere near it, but that was the expected upside to it. So it's all fun to have those things, but it's important to be able to look at them. What we're going to be looking for is an increase in the ratio right here, where this red number gets to high 60s or low 70s in relation to the up power, and that will give us a signal that the market is in fact about to roll over. So we had our upside computer projection 1452 in the magentas. The downside was 1409. No change in that. Still looking just to get to that. We had positive news from our price oscillator, which just looks to reflect the projection of price down the road. And we talked about how MACD people would want to be selling on the divergence that happened right up here, and whether they stayed in or not, who knows. But again, not always going to be effective in following that setup. But what was extremely effective was our purchase of SSO at 59.46. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the website because we wanted to do that. Actually, I think I even have one that's already open. Let me grab that one right here. Okay, so 59.45 is our buy-in because we sold puts. If you didn't sell the puts, like I said, easy enough. Just wait for the price to retrace to that level and buy it. So no harm, no foul either way. We just wanted to collect some premium in case it didn't quite go as low as it did, and you could have actually even done better than the 59.46. But we definitely wanted to be buyers of that market towards the end of last week. We're now going to set our stop loss at 61.65. So yeah, that's a couple of bucks we've made. Nice holiday cash. Gotta love that. So that's great. But you can see we wanted to follow the ABM. It was down here. It's traveled all the way up to 61.72. With the red dot that we see on a daily, I want to actually bring this higher. So if we open above 62, you want to start bringing this one up 5-6 cents every hour or so, because you can see that there are plenty of levels at these positive extremes that are going to need to retest, particularly with that overall red dot. What's going to be the catalyst? Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't really matter. If you want to follow the news about it, fine. It's not going to make any difference. These guys have already set the value at where they're planning to retrace it, and they will. It's going to happen. Not too much to guess about. Now with USO and our oil setup, we have 900 shares long. I wanted us to turn around and sell 32 calls. 39 cents was an easy get for 2/3 of that position. That way, if we get called away on that, fine. We're going to be ending the year anyway and starting from fresh. So why not? We'll still be trading these. That would still leave us 300 to get rid of sometime after Christmas or whatever. And if the market should start to fall a little sooner, fine. We're covered. We're going to collect some extra premium in the way. Yeah, no issues with that. Not overbought, clearly, at these readings from the extreme minus 30. More than happy to continue. In fact, we had the extreme fractal and the orange dot right here that set the targets. The first one here was the orange dot at 32.07, and captured that just fine. And then we were looking for this one, the catfish long in the extreme fractal, 32.37. So just a little shy. What was the high today? 32.27. So it is a dime away from reaching that full target. And so that just makes it so much easier when you can see the little dot. And if you've got the indicators, you just highlight over there and it gives you the finish projection. So it makes it real simple. Gold took a nosedive. Deep dip there, and from the GAM we usually look for that. In red trend we would still be looking for a discount here, so it's the time to start following that down. And even though this was a short bar, you would take the high, the low, look for a third discount. I usually bring it to the low when you get that kind of a dip, and you're so far below the red line now and be waiting for a new fractal. But that was a huge sellout, moving minus 25 on the shakeout. So some people just ran from that overall setup. X, we wanted to sell calls into that, and I know, and I got some people ask me, John, why do you want to sell calls? I don't have that one loaded. Let's go to member homepage. For those who are new, you can see how easy this is to do. And we just scroll down, select X. Takes us right to it. We wanted to sell the 24 call going into the rise, and that's because we saw the increase in the overall positive extreme. And it's going to be reflected back Can it stay above that? Fine. If it does, we're out of those shares. Our cost basis is so low. Fine. We'll start fresh again from a new setup once we get a retrace that brings us back down. Not an issue with that. So I'm very happy with where we've come from that. Considering when we started the year, when we were doing this at $27 a share, and have lowered our cost basis all the way into the 14s. We've done very nice. WLT we're out of. We were just waiting for a retrace on that. You begin to see some of the weakness as it performed today. CLF, again, we wanted to sell into CLF strength as well. We were expecting it to move higher, and within that move higher, we wanted to sell the 34 calls. So you get about 90 cents for those. You probably could have even done a little better than that, but I like to take it a little more conservative on our markings. So 90 cents for those 34s. We're over 35, but you can retrace that just as easily. Not overbought completely, but again, with the overall market weakness, I don't want to have us take any chances where we can at least collect. And again, we only sold a portion of that, so let's put that back up real quick, because we have our 600 shares. We only sold 3, so that would still leave us a portion of those to have to render with at the end of the year. And not a problem, we'll do it. So here was the ES daily. And you can see we had that lovely orange dot set up there. This was the upper target. That's what I had put on StockTwits after it had started to move higher, letting people know that move was not done when it was just a little bit of a move higher, that there was quite a bit of range to go. And in fact, got very close to actually meeting that target. And there were a bunch of other stocks that I've been going through. And again, if you want a lot of these individuals, you're going to have to get the indicators on your own. And there's just no other way around it, because I can't put up every chart all the time. And while the dot alerts, they give you a heads up, they give you some information, you can't beat having the extreme histograms, the shakeout indicators, as well as the expanded ratio histogram to really delve into the complexities of some of these. Now, PCLN, I haven't put this chart up for anyone, that we ended up clear by from our overall green dot, but we were in red trends. So we wanted the discount. I kept following it. I kept posting this, and some people told me I was nuts, that we had to fill this gap, that there was no way that anyone was going to be buying at this particular point. They were feeling all good when it dipped a little bit more, and I said, not a problem. We are buyers at 614, no doubts about it, completely comfortable with it. And you don't hear from them now when it turns around and jumps $16+ in a day, and pretty much we captured the near bottom of the move. So fine, it's not always going to happen, but it was a pretty high probability trade. Really didn't have too many concerns when you go back and look at all these other previous green dot numbers. They were all very successful, and I pointed all that out at the time this one came in, that you were bucking the wrong trend. Well, this satisfies the orange dot buyers right away, but now you've got a new set of fractal buyers that jump in here and say, hey, no, I want a little bit more. So we're still looking for the 640. And some people say, well, why would you sell at the orange dot? Well, I sell a portion of it because I usually like to have about 3 positions within the setup, and you take a little bit of your gains as you go, but you don't sell short of your targets. And this is always the most difficult thing I have in trying to teach people, because if you sell short of the target, all the profit expectancies, and you can have your great win rate, but if your stop losses are too great and you're not collecting enough from them, you're going to end up with a losing overall batting average when it comes down to profits. Fine, you'll be able to say you won 70% of your trades or better, but you won't have any money to show for it. At the end of the day, it really comes down to the money. I've got plenty of systems that barely win 50% of the time, but they produce 2 profit factors, meaning they make twice as much money as they lose. And so not everyone can handle that kind of loss rate, but clearly with these much higher win rates. And let's see what that new fractal on PCLN projects, all the way up to 650. 59, so that's a brand new projection to the upside. I might as well show you another one while I'm here. Amazon was another one I've been posting all the way back from over here when people were telling me, oh no, it was going to go down sub 200. We had the bifractals come in at that particular point. We had a massive rise in the shakeout, and it exploded off there. And then you can see with the new ABM that I've given to members who have the indicators, easy now to follow the trend, even if you didn't just want to follow the green versus the red. This gives you a little bit tighter stop. And you can see where it broke down below. You ended up with a new signal, which gave new targets to the upside. And so when those are hit, now you got to see that Amazon put in a daily short, but after it reaches its target. So that's interesting, because you can start to see that on a couple of other stocks. I might as well throw up Apple while we're here. can't hurt. Everyone was talking about how this was going to break sub 500, and we saw these fractal buyers build in. And I went over this with all of you back here when this was. I said, look for them to do a dump out where they try and force more shares, because these are somewhat thinly traded. The volume is not huge all the time. And so they need these kind of capitulation moves to really force people out, and then they start acquiring all this stuff. And they'd already begun doing so right through here. So you know they're going to be bringing it back up to these levels, and then they're going to be taking it from there. But we have, first our 555 to reach. We had an excellent. I was screaming for everyone to be buying around that 505 to 58 area for options for this week. I wasn't projecting any further. I was saying get in there now and don't hesitate. So that worked out very effective. And, and I wanted to show another one. I have to go to my stocks real quick. It's okay. I know I'm going long. Oh, and speaking of which, going long, if you watch any of these videos and you have a slower processor, because they are in HD, it can impact your ability to load them. I do put them up on YouTube, but only for members that are private, and I have to put in your email number in order to your email address in order to be able to view them. So if that's something you need, you can always drop me an email, tradethembi@yahoo.com, and go ahead and take care of that. But here's another one. Also puts in a red dot today, so you can see all these that have had these great runs. You're just now at the point where people think, oh, maybe I should get in. And what do they do at that point? They sell into you. Just throw it out there. So you get a little bit more of an up wave, but boom. CMG was another one. We were all in here, and I was posting that, this was a great buy setup at this particular point, and I had everyone tell me, no, it's coming back down to these lows, blah, 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 blah. And that's fine. You could say all that, but I could see the buyers in these setups, and that's what the dots show. And boom, took it to the targets. We ended up with a halibut the other day. In fact, you can see that if I slide it over here for you. It says halibut, and gave the target of 295. So what was the high today? 295.33. How close is that? 295.32. And you tell me that these guys don't pay attention to these specific ideas? That's not random. That was in there the other day and came through. Boom. Now you get the red dot, and that red dot's going to give you a downside target back down to 284.78. So hopefully that helps. Gosh, from our future standpoint, I got closed out of everything. Another excellent day on that one. But again, with these signals, while we could still get a little bit of an updraft, not prepared to push that any further. And was there anything else special about the setup? No. Up-down power was good. We actually moved to a positive for the blue line, so that may give it a little more strength. What I would be looking for would be a higher close on a lower positive extreme as a clear signal. In that case, I would definitely have a short, and or if we're not out of the SSO, we would definitely close that position out. And which case we'd probably end up buying puts for our SSO, and then being able to trade it as an arbitrage. I might have us look to a little bit longer time frame. So that's another opportunity for us to set up towards the end of the year-end kind of play. So hopefully that helps. As always, though, if you have questions, please just drop me an email. Trade well, and look for me on StockTwits Twitter.